You know, it's a very beautiful morning, but maybe not so much for the darkness that lurks behind me. Anyway, you guys, what's up? Chet-guthrie, the Dream Poet here, coming to you all with another fun-filled vlog. Well, actually, I should say a very dark, scary vlog for haunt season. Today, you guys, we are out at the Castillo de San Marcos here in St. Augustine, Florida. Now, this fortress is the oldest of its kind. It was built by the Spanish in the 1660s. Now, prior to this, there were about 8 other forts in this area. But because of St. Augustine being a new port controlled by the Spanish Empire, they had quite a few run-ins. Pirates like Sir Francis Drake would come through here, burn the city down. Then you would have the English, the British that would come through here, and they would lay siege to the city as well. Now, what has led to the fort's longevity, or lasting so long, is it is constructed out of a substance known as coquina. Coquina is a mix between limestone, shell, and cement. It's very spongy, very porousy. In the times that the other foreign powers that laid siege to the city, they would fire cannonballs from outside in the harbor right over there, and the cannonballs would just stick. But we will talk about the dark history because this is haunt season. Now, this might look like a normal field, a normal courtyard area, if you will, but beneath our feet right now, we are standing on the graves of Spanish soldiers. You see, when St. Augustine was laid siege, and it's many times, people from the city would run to the fortress, and this is where they would seek refuge. The men, the soldiers, they would come out of the fort and they would fight. Many of them dying, laying on the battlefield, their families having to watch their loved ones just laying there, here on this pile of land. After the fighting would cease, the women, the children, the civilian men, they would come out and they would bury the soldiers right where they laid, in this spot. So chances are I'm walking on top of a grave right now. Which reminds me of one story. This was about the 50s and the 60s. There were a group of Boy Scouts here on this plot of land. They had metal detectors, and while they were metal detecting this area, they were finding coins, they were finding bullets, shillings, but they were also finding human bones. So in actuality, this is the largest unmarked grave here in the city of St. Augustine, which it is the most haunted. If you pay attention here late in the middle of the night, after the ghost tours have gone, or quite even in mid-broad daylight, people have seen what looks to be soldiers walking in single file line. Now, you'll look one moment, then you'll look out to the port, observing the Bridge of Lions, but when you turn your head back, those soldiers will be gone. Paranormal research field, that is called a residual haunt. It has no, it doesn't have a conscience other than it is energy that is repeating itself over and over again. But anyway, you guys, we're gonna get in here at the Castillo de San Marcos, and we're gonna explore some of its haunted areas. So without further ado, you guys, let's do it. Anchor down. We are at the entrance of the Castillo de San Marcos, and now we are going to head to the jail cell, which is actually one of the most haunted rooms here at the Castillo de San Marcos. Okay, this is one of the most haunted rooms in the entire Castillo. Anyway, this is where they kept Spanish soldiers when the British took over. In this room in particular, they've heard a lot of noises. They've heard scratching. People have actually even been scratched who investigated this room. They've seen dark shadows. There's just a lot here. This is the jail itself. This is where they kept a lot of prisoners. If you look right here, you can see what they've drawn, like right here, boats in order to pass the time. Now, the living conditions of soldiers in this particular area, it was not good. It was very, very, very bad. Sometimes these people were treated, well, close to animals, really. So while there is nobody else in this room, I have my K2 meter, and we're about to see what's going to happen. Is there anybody here with us? If there's anybody here with us, can you please light this up? We mean you no harm. Is there anybody here with us? If there's anybody in this room, would you care lighting this up for me? Is there anybody here with us? Now, one thing I want to note, you guys, just in case we don't get anything, there is almost no electricity in this room whatsoever, or in this entire building. This building is as it was, well, since the 1660s. The National Park Service has, well, for the most part, kept it as is. But looks like we're not really getting anything, so I say we're going to move on to the next area. Our next story takes us to this room right here. Now, what might look like a normal, just average room here at the Castillo de San Marcos, this room had a pretty dark past in particular. I want you all to acknowledge what it looks like right here, going up to the top on that top window right there. You see, during the Indian Removal Act of the 1830s, a lot of Native Americans were being torn from their homes in all around the southeastern United States. One in particular was the Seminole Indians. Now, the Seminole Indians, they were being brought from South Florida up through this area and out to the Indian Territory. However, the conditions for these Native Americans, again, they were virtually treated like dogs, barely fed. A lot of diseases like yellow fever were really, really bad. But there is one thing that I want to note, that this is where they kept all the Seminole Indians as they were brought through. But one particular group back in the 1830s, they had been starved so bad that they almost looked like Holocaust victims. But what they did is they stood from here and they jumped to that top right there in that window, and they all squeezed out. Now this is, well, how the Seminole Reservation became to be. However, it's not so much haunted, but rather just a part of a dark past. So anyway, I think we're going to check out the cannon fire demonstration real quick. That was very interesting, very unexpected. But anyway, you guys, let me show you one of the most haunted rooms. Well, I should say another one of the most haunted rooms here at the Castillo. And this room in particular, it is right here. By the way, this is the powder room, but we're not looking for the powder room. We have to go through here, through this very tight corridor. Even though we are out in broad daylight, it is still incredibly dark in this room. Now, during COVID, you couldn't get into this room just because of how closed it was and how claustrophobic. But this is where an extremely dark tale took place. You see, when the Castillo was still under control of Spain in the early days, about the 1700s, there was a Spanish captain. Anyway, this captain, by the way, he was the commander over this post. What had happened is his wife had been having an affair with one of his lieutenants. Now, this made the commander very angry, very distraught, very disgruntled. So what he did is he took this man and this woman, his wife, and he chained them up to the wall. Now, I like to think it's this exact same wall right here. They laid in this spot in pure darkness as they slowly rotted away, only to be discovered about 100 years later. While the British soldiers were in control of the Castillo, one of their cannons had fallen through the ceiling. Anyway, they didn't know where it had went, but while they were looking for this cannon, they got right next to the powder room where it should have fallen, and they knocked. It was hollow. They dug, and anyway, when they found this room, they found the lieutenant and the captain's wife chained to the wall, their skeletons, with looks of terror and fear. Let's see if we can't contact anybody from the other side. Is anybody here with us? If there is anybody here with us, can you please make this light go off? Are you the lieutenant that was stuck down here? If you are the lieutenant, can you please light this up for me? Or another entity altogether. Okay, we're not having much luck. So I believe we are going to use the ghost box. Is there anyone here with us? If there's anyone here with us, can you please speak into this box for me? Is there anyone here? Are you the lieutenant? Are you the soldier? Are you the captain's wife? Is there anyone here with me right now? Do you want me to leave? We did not have that much luck in there, but I do want to note something about this courtyard and the park rangers who work here. Often these park rangers, they have experienced so much activity in the Castillo that after about 5 o'clock, 5:30, when this Castillo or when this fort shuts down, the rangers, they won't stay here. They will leave, and they do not want to be here after such a time. I thought I would just note that. And now we are on the top of the main gun deck. Now at night, you guys, and sometimes even in the late evening, it is said that people have seen what looks to be a Spanish soldier walking along the main gun deck. Now, people have often called the cops in order to report this. Often when they get here, there's nothing there. Now also, it is said that there's also been lights recorded at the or from the top of the Castillo as well. Anyway, let me show you one more thing here at the Castillo. What I'm about to show you all is perhaps one of the most gruesome things here at the Castillo. If you all look hard enough, you can see holes. Now, what made these holes, you might be asking? Those are musket holes, or musket balls that made those, and cannonballs. You see, when Spain had its prisoners, and if they did not agree with Catholicism, like they weren't Catholic and they refused to convert to Catholicism, Spanish soldiers would stand from this spot right here, and these men who refused to convert, these men who were prisoners, they would be shot to death. Now, there is a lot of paranormal activity associated with this wall, because if you think about it, we are standing right where men once stood. So real quick, I think I'm going to break out the K2 and the spirit box, and let's see if we can't get anything. Is there anyone here with us right now? If there's anyone here with us, can you please manipulate the energy coming in out of this radio? Like I said, we're not here to do you any harm. Are you a Spanish soldier? Do you want me to leave? Alright. Alrighty then. One more question. Right. Are you annoyed by all the people out here? Alrighty then. Well, I'm gonna leave you alone and have a great day. Goodbye. Okay then. I guess it is totally possible to ghost hunt in broad daylight. We did get a little bit of EVP stuff right here. So you guys, I think we are gonna call it a vlog. Remember, you guys, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Always means a lot. Goes to show that y'all care and that y'all want to see more awesome videos. So without further ado, you guys, vlog over.